What's up? I get to talk to myself again. All right. First of all, just to start things off, I want to thank everyone who were signed up for last week for being very supportive and understanding of the delay. Um, just on a serious note, I just want to open right up with it. To me, and I feel everyone, Black lives do matter. For those of you who don't know me, I have my wife is Black, and I was very ignorant to anything going on outside of my little white bubble that I was raised in until I was introduced to my beautiful now marriage, But I haven't written anything. I should have written this, but I just feel like coming from the heart is real. And all I want to say is if you haven't experienced anything that Black people in America have not, which if you're not Black, then you've had a more of a privileged life. That doesn't mean you're better. That doesn't mean it's been easy. Everyone has hard things going on, right? We all work hard to get where we are. But if for Black people in particular and people of color, they've had certain disadvantages. And I just want people to at least acknowledge that. If you want to do better and you want to know better as a white person or a person of non-color, all I ask is that you just try to educate yourself and just listen. And in the final words, I will read this because I have not memorized the quote of Martin Luther King. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. What I mean by that is it's better to speak up if you see something happening or if you feel something is wrong, speak up. Because when people don't, especially people who are privileged, like a white male, like I am, if you are too afraid to say anything because you might get attacked, or if you just want to sit back and that's not my problem, that's one of the main factors to where we are today. So didn't mean to get all serious right up front, but it's very, very important to me. Things are still going on, and there's a lot of good things happening out of all the action that's been going on. So with that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for understanding the delay. And let's get into the audio stuff. So go ahead and let me know. Is my audio working? All right, cool. Yes, people. That would have been, what if I was just sitting there talking to myself on that really serious note? So, okay. All right, folks. Let's hop in to the audio stuff. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to try to get through as many audio samples as possible. I actually pre-rated some of them, a good chunk of them, so we can get in a groove and just kind of get through a lot up front. But if you submitted your audio and it doesn't get heard today, it's just there was a lot of submissions. But since you signed up, I will be offering a very discounted, very affordable rate to get your audio rated in the same way that we'll be doing on the webinar. Probably tomorrow I'll be sending out the email with the details. But what matters today is let's go over some audio. So before we hop into everything, let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'll just break down what I'm going to be rating on each piece of audio that came in. All right. Thank you for everyone in the chat. Really appreciate it. All right. So I got some keyboard shortcuts. Let's see if this does something. Ooh. All right. Y'all see my screen? A little twisted. All right. I see some nods. Okay. So let me actually open the rating of the first file. All right. Whoa, no, disappeared. All right. So this is how, these are the categories that I'm rating each piece of audio in. Pretty much in order of most importance, but overall it's a 0 to 5 scale. And if it's between 4 to 5, I consider that pro level. What do I mean by pro? By pro, I mean, you don't have to do any processing to your audio to get it sounding excellent. And also by pro, I mean by if people are going to connect to you via Source Connect or Source Connect Now or IpDiddle or all these things where other studios or clients are connecting and recording live, they're sucking your audio out of your computer, if you will. There's not a whole lot you can do before it goes into your computer unless you buy fancy hardware to clean up a noisy room, or especially poor acoustics. There's hardly anything you can do after you record if the acoustics aren't good. But I'm talking compression and EQ. You want it to be as clean and perfect as possible without you having to add any enhancements or take any of the crap out. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people. So that's what we're here. I'm here to educate you on today. So 4 to 5 is that pro tier. That's what we're aiming for. But if it's not in 4 to 5, it doesn't mean like it's shit. Just don't even just give up on voiceover. You don't know anything about audio. My God, you are terrible. It's not that. All right. So I don't want anyone to be like, oh God, it's just not a 4 yet. It's like a 3.75. You're such an asshole, Jordan. It's not that. I'm just being very picky, but I'm also being real because I know I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of studios as a voice talent myself, and I've recorded a ton of talent for their demos, as an example, which needs to be pro level. And I also need, I also have, there's a third thing in there. I only can count to 2 today. So let's stick with those 2 things. But all that to say, if it's below 4, if it's like in the 3 to 4 range, you're doing good. Like, it's not like you can't do voiceover work. There's plenty of work that'll still be usable on. And also if it needs, like, if the noise floor, for example, is the only thing that is below 4 and it's just a little bit below, then you're going to be in good shape. Like, you can still probably do certain levels of pro work. And like I said, there's like telephony, corporate narration, explainer videos, just train e-learning. Even, I'm not gonna lie, even I'm not an audiobook guy, so I'm sure there's some people in here, but I've heard some audiobooks with terrible audio quality. Like, I don't think the standards are high there. I'm not insulting audiobook narrators, but at all, because my friends I know, their audio is stellar, but there's some I hear, I'm like, what? How did maybe this is done pro bono? I don't know. So, but the goal is to get in that 4 to 5 range. So acoustics, let's start with that. Acoustics is the echo you hear in the room. Now, right now I'm talking on a Sennheiser 416. It's going to a really fancy channel strip and a bunch of, I changed from my $100 mic over to the $1,000 mic for today, just because it's better at blocking out dog barks and cars to a degree. And it's just kind of easier for me to work the mic right in front of me right here instead of the other one being like this. But the acoustics is the amount of echo, how much your voice is bouncing off surfaces in the room, the tone that it creates once it comes off of those surfaces and then into the microphone. All right. Acoustics is not noise suppression or sound proofing. All right. Sound proofing, and it's a little bit of semantics, but essentially soundproofing or noise control is kind of like what I like to call it, is trying to get noise, inherent noise, not your echo, but like a fan. Like I have a ceiling fan on right now. I have a fan down here cooling my legs. That's why did I hesitate there? That was gross. It's hot, folks. Let me just put it that way. All right. I have the AC off specifically because it's really loud in the house, so I can have some pretty good audio in this recording. But noise control is any fan noise, a car driving by, a dog barking, anything that you don't want getting into your audio. That's noise control. I'm not rating on that because that kind of falls into the noise floor specifically. But that is really the only reason I have that big old yellow studio bricks behind me, is to block noise so I can run the AC, a dog can bark outside, and most cars, but if a Harley drives by or a big truck, I can still hear it in that triple wall booth. That's how hard it is to get noise control. So don't beat yourself up if you're having a hard time getting that noise under control, because it can take a lot of money and effort. But acoustics are the most important part, as long as the noise is manageable. All right, moving on to recording levels. The recording levels is just how do you have your gain turned up enough? Is it going into your computer at a loud enough level to where if I turn it up, I'm not going to hear a bunch of or anything else you don't want in there. Your inherent noise floor is going to be louder if you record too quiet. Or if you record too loud, it'll be clipping, right? And clipping, I mean, it's distorting. It's like, yeah, it sounds like, I can't even, I have a compressor on here. So I don't know if that distorted, but there, I heard some there. There. You like that? Okay. That's my clipping demonstration. Was that scary? Sorry if you have kids around. So that's the recording levels. That's one of the easiest things to fix. Mic technique is what if someone's kind of recording right here. Hear how I'm a little bit. It sounds you can hear me, right? But it's a little bit not focused sounding. And then if I come over here, there we go. Now it's more focused, right? It's much clearer. Or if I'm Peter Piper picked a pepper. If you're popping your P's, that's kind of the easiest thing to hear for with mic technique. Those are the things I'm going to be listening for and rating on, because a pro needs to know how to work the mic at a particular angle on certain words and stuff like that. All right. And then mic tone. This is entirely subjective. This is something that can't be technically rated by data, but it's, this is my own opinion on the tone, but it comes from hearing hundreds and hundreds of microphones and spaces. And what my interpretation as an audio engineer is on how nice and pro does it sound. I prefer and lean towards a cleaner sound. If there is color, and what I mean by color is like, maybe it's a tube mic or a tube preamp you're running, and it adds just a little bit of sauce, is what I call it, some sauce, right? And you have that. What it does is it will enhance some low end frequencies maybe, or make the high frequencies a little brighter. If it's just enough color and it just makes it nice and smooth, great. But if it's too much and it's all heavy and distorted, or just like too much low end and stuff like that, that's not great for a lot of voiceover applications. So my ear is listening for something as neutral, or if it is colored done right, if you will, like enough, enough sauce on it. All right. So, and then finally, processed audio. If you submitted a processed audio sample, which you had the option to, this is just a 1 score for how pro does it sound. I can't go through and rate like, oh, here's how your, here's your mouth clicking level. Here's your noise removal rating. I'd spend like a half an hour on each person. So it's just like, okay, after you've done all of that stuff, how pro does it sound? Do I like it or do I not? Can I use this in a professional setting? That's all it comes down to. There's a helicopter. There you go. Maybe I should name my 416 at the ceiling where all helicopters are coming from. Can't win, folks. So now that we got the ratings out of the way, let me, any questions? Any questions before we dive in? It'll start to make sense if you're unclear on what these ratings mean, but just want to make sure thank you for the support, everyone. Just want to make sure we're going for it. Marcus, what's up? Go ahead and throw me your question, and I'll get the audio sample loaded here in a moment. Okay. Go ahead and throw your question in the chat, and I'm going to get started I'm going to actually show you my audio sample first as a comparison of what a TLM 103 sounds like on an Avalon 737 plugin in a Studio Bricks Pro, which is pretty tuned as far as the acoustics go. And not necessarily for the tone as much, but more the noise floor. And that was the biggest difference I was hearing in a lot of people's audio. I was hearing just a surprising amount of noise, whether it was fan noise or just the electronics itself. Because every microphone, every cable, every preamp, anything that's involved before that's electronic, that's doing something before it goes into your computer has inherent electronic noise. And it's generally the cheaper the equipment, the more zzz or it's going to have in it. All right. And so I want to play the sample for you, and I'll come back to this multiple times to compare when I'm pointing out room tone on some of these, as far as or noise floor, sorry, as far as like, hey, it's not bad, but I mean, I was able, I know it's an expensive Studio Bricks and everything, but I'm just showing you what is possible, right? Of how quiet you really can get your noise floor. So I also have the fan on in there too. There's 5 settings. I have it on 2 out of 5 if anyone's nerding out on the settings. So here's just a sample, just so you have a reference for tone. And someone tell me if you can please hear this coming through on the audio. You need hard to find ink in a multi-pack in stock now at the lowest price possible. So you go to Staples. That was easy, right? With an amazing selection, low price ink guarantee, and some other shit. Only at Staples. All right, I didn't have the script in front of me. I was just like, let me just, I have it in my head, right? So forgive the non-full script. Now listen to the noise floor. Okay. I mean, you probably won't hear anything. And now I'm going to amplify it by 20 dB. Okay. And even then, that noise floor I was hearing, but I boosted it by 20 decibels. I was hearing in some people's audio that much noise with really pro equipment. So we'll go ahead and address that, but let me go ahead and undo that. But yeah, it should have been really, really, really like pretty much nothing. You can hear something, but once I boosted it by 20 dB, right? I was amplifying it just so we could hear it, and I could hear my AC running. It's really low, but you're not going to hear that if I record at a proper level like I did here. All right, enough of me. Let's get into the first runner-up, Buzz Blackburn. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we're going to start. He submitted 2 audio samples. We have both raw and processed. That's obvious. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Buzz Blackburn. You need ink and toner, so you go to Staples. That was easy, right? Let's make it tougher. You need hard-to-find ink in a multi-pack, in stock now, at the lowest price possible. So you go to Staples. Still easy. With an amazing selection, helpful associates, and Staples' low-price ink guarantee, more people save on ink and toner at Staples than anywhere else. Staples. That was easy.
All right. Now, I'm gonna listen to some of the noise floor here, okay? I'm gonna analyze it. So the noise floor is -55, which is pretty good. You want to aim for -60, and I'm looking at the peaks here. However, and I pointed this out, if you were at my last webinar, I don't like going off just the raw numbers, because I've had people with a noise floor of -65, and it doesn't, like, I can hear a lot. And then I have people with like -55 and I don't, or -45, and it's not, like, you don't hear much. So as far as distracting amount of inherent noise in the room. So let's see, this one is -55, which is good. You want to, like, -60 or above is ideal, but even -55, you're doing really good. But let me take another listen. Okay, I hear just a little bit of hiss on the top. So let's bring this down here. This is his official rating. All right, we got the acoustics, phenomenal. I don't have any echo. Everything sounds really good. I have nothing else to say there. Noise floor, what I just listened to, that's what I was pointing out. That's why I gave it a 4. It's totally pro level, but he included a picture. I think he gave me permission, so let me double check that. Yes, all right, let me bring that up here. So check this out. He has a really cool studio. This is on a 416. And it's on a Scarlett 6i6, the Focusrite. Now, here's my theory on the that I'm hearing, Buzz, where there's room for improvement. Just slight, okay? I'm just, again, this is why you submit. Like, I'm not saying, oh, disqualified, but I always look for where can we get better, right? Where can we improve? My theory is it could be, it looks like you're using good cables. These speaker monitors on here, on your desk, might be what I'm hearing. Every speaker monitors, they always have coming out of them. And of course, the more you turn up the gain on your audio interface, the louder that is. But you turn them on and they're not even plugged into anything, and there's a little bit of going on. Now, I don't know how airtight this room is. It looks like office cubicle with acoustic panels and stuff. So it sounds, again, the acoustics are really good, but I'm guessing it's those speakers, and it may be the Focusrite might be adding a little bit of inherent built-in noise. You know, it's a cheaper, but you know, it's not like a piece of junk. But again, like when you go from a Focusrite Scarlett level to like a Universal Audio Apollo level or RME, Audient, those tend to I hear noise floor go down significantly between those two. So again, it's totally pro level, but that's honestly, that was like kind of the only thing I remember wanting to improve on there. Recording levels, perfect. As you can see, it's nice and healthy. All right. And mic technique. I think I heard like one mild pop P here. Let me listen.
Let's make it tougher. You need hard-to-find ink in a multi-pack, in stock now, at the lowest price possible. So you go to Staples. With an amazing selection, helpful associates, and Staples' low-price ink guarantee, more people save on ink and toner at Staples than anywhere else. Staples. That was it. You need ink and toner, so you go to Staples. That was it.
I don't know why I gave that a 4. Maybe it's the problem with rating them beforehand. But I hear a tiny pop P there.
Staples.
it might be there. But overall, this sounds good. You don't sound too off axis or anything. Mic tone, I think it sounds great. I have no problems. It's a little resonant and boomy, but in your processed audio is where I think you address that. So let's move on to the processed audio. For time, I'm not going to play full samples all the time. I just did it up front here so we kind of know what we're listening for. But let's switch over to his processed audio.
Buzz Blackburn. You need ink and toner, so you go to Staples. That was easy, right? Let's make it tougher. You need hard-to-find ink in a multi-pack, in stock now, at the lowest price possible.
Okay, quick question for you folks. I'll get to your questions that you asked. Are you just seeing Twisted Wave up, or is it showing my two monitors? Just want to make sure it's not showing two. Big one. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so what I hear here, Buzz, is I gave it a 4, I think, because it sounds great overall. Like, I could totally use this. I hear a little bit of too much. I feel like you're cutting out almost a little too much low end.
You need ink and toner, so you go to Staples.
Yeah, there's just a little too much low end, maybe around 200 hertz that I'm hearing you, because the original was fairly resonant.
You need ink and toner. You need ink and toner.
So switching between the original and the processed, I would cut out a little less low end, and I don't think you need all the top end you're adding.
So you go to Staples. You need hard-to-find ink in a multi-pack, in stock now, at the lowest price possible. So you go to Staples.
Yeah, it's not. I think you're adding a little bit of top end. This is my guess, right? It's what I'm hearing, and it's not hurting anything.
More people save on ink and toner.
Is that a de-esser I'm hearing hit really hard?
More people save on.
If that was a de-esser, I would dial that down. That was a little heavy.
Helpful associates and.
I think I hear a de-esser. So dial back on that de-esser a bit.
With an amazing selection.
Yeah, I'm hearing it now. If I'm making it up, call me out. But I don't know if he's on here live. But you can hear the S's, folks, being pushed down. Now, this isn't like destroying it, but the S's are like, and you don't want a de-esser to be doing too much. Otherwise, it can be distracting. But yeah, that's my only feedback. The compression overall, don't need any more compression. Any more than this would be too much. Cut out a little less low end because I hear you pulling out low end, and dial back on that de-esser. But overall, this is pro. I would use it. All right. Awesome. Let's, okay, questions. I'm going to look up at the chat. Give me a moment. No problem, Buzz. Okay. Marcus, I don't quite understand the definition. Okay. I probably didn't cover that well. So the noise floor it's essentially how much of not your voice, not the echo, but just either fan or room tone. And the room tone is literally the ambient noise in any space. So if you're in a bathroom, if you're in a tent, if you're in a closet, each thing has a different acoustic sound to it when you're not talking. And essentially it's just how much noise is getting in from fans, equipment running, it's essentially, and the built-in electronic noise that comes with any piece of equipment. So that can either, at worst, it can come in the form of a zzz, dynamic mics can have that. I think we have one coming up, which I'll point out. But if you have a buzz, that's not good. Not Buzz Blackburn, but like a buzz sound. But most microphones and everything, the more you turn up that gain, the more you're going to hear a and you want to try to reduce that as much as possible. And the way you can reduce that is better equipment, better cables is the biggest thing. And really that's it. And then as far as blocking out room noise, which is a part of the noise floor, turning off any fan you can, like I am, I'm going to be beat red in the next hour. Keep my AC up. It's 81 in here right now. Wow. Hopefully my computer doesn't explode. So, does that make sense, Marcus? Let me know if you need any clarification. All right. Question from Adam. I have a channel strip. Would you prefer a DBX? Would you prefer, as an engineer, that I use the strip or just record straight from the interface? It's a great channel strip. And again, this kind of goes with any sort of processing, especially if you're permanently doing it, right? If you have an Apollo, folks, and you buy the plugins, you can run them live and record into your computer with all those on. It's what I do. It's what a lot of people do. but you have to be really careful because it's really easy to jack it up. Too much compression, too much de-essing. So I would recommend if you're interested, either learning following the manual and spending hours with it and trying to learn like what compression does, what the EQ does and stuff on it. But overall, it's a great channel strip. If you just turn off all of those settings and just use it as a preamp, that's great too. But if you're only going to use it like that, then I would just bypass it and go straight into your audio interface, personally. All right, moving on. One last question here, Adam. You record your levels. When you record your levels just raw, what would you expect is decent levels? I've heard anything above -12, but then others swear by -6 and not below. Aim for your peaks to just be around at least -10, right? If you look at, let's go to this raw here. See how his peak came in here, like at -3. This is great, but even if it was like that, that's all right. You know, these peaks are like -12, but this initial peak's up at -6. You know, there's no hard fast rule. You just don't want it to be looking like that. It's still usable, but again, if your room isn't quiet, then I'm gonna have to artificially turn this up, you know, by, well, that was too much, by that, and then I'm gonna hear a lot more of that noise. Okay, all right, let's move on. Yeah, okay, technical issue. Oh, not having issues. Okay, I'm gonna close buzz. Let's move on to the next one. We got Jeffrey Machado. I hope that's how you say it. It's a cool name. All right, let's take a listen. I'm going to listen just to some of it. Here we go.
Jeffrey Machado.
Machado. I'm an asshole. I'm so sorry. Here we go.
You need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. That was easy, right? Let's make it tougher. You need hard-to-find ink in a multi-pack, in stock now, at the lowest price possible. So, you go to Staples. Still easy. With an amazing selection, helpful associates, and Staples' low-price ink guarantee, more people save on ink and toner at Staples than anywhere else. Staples. That was easy.
Cool. Okay. Sorry, I'm doing lots of things at once here. Let's open up his rating. Close that one. All right. So overall, this is pretty solid, but there's a little bit of room for improvement. Now, he gave me permission to show his pictures. So I'm going to drag one down here. All right. So there's one wall in his room. Awesome. I love how creative people get. Okay, this one's really telling in what I'm hearing. All right. So as you can see, he has his mic over here and he has a lot of, oh, cool. Looks like you even have like a blanket that you bring out. That's really cool. All right. Yeah, you're improvising. This is great. I like this like bass trap thing you made up here. Really cool. Let me look at this other picture here. And then he's even got some other panels. Awesome. Awesome. Really cool. So what I'm hearing in the acoustics, I gave it a 3.5. I could totally use this in a pro recording, but there's a little too much long-term echo that I'm hearing. So it's when you finish a word, it's a great test to talk like this, and then you can hear the echo. You're not really going to hear much in mine, unfortunately, because I have a ton of acoustic treatment and I'm on a 416. I'm pretty much eating it. But I'm hearing a little too much of a long echo. If there's a really, really tiny short one and it's super quiet, that's fine by me, but I'm hearing a little too much. So let's just listen a little bit more.
You need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. That was easy, right? Let's make it tougher.
There you go. Great test on the let's. Listen one more time, folks.
Let's make it tougher.
You can hear it. You can tell. I can tell you're not in a booth, which is fine. I don't care if you're in a booth, but I can tell you're not in a smaller space. I can tell that there's distance behind you and somewhere in the room. So, I mean, honestly, it's a higher frequency. So if you were able to like get another curtain and wrap it behind you, I think that would really help. I think that would really improve. Let's look here again. Yeah, I'm probably hearing on this door is what's reflecting, and maybe even up here on this back ceiling. Yeah, it doesn't. And so if you could wrap around you, that would significantly help. But it's overall, it's sounding really good, man. But I'm giving you some room for improvement. All right. So noise floor, let's take a listen at that. I gave it a 3.75 or something like that. Let's go back there and listen. So if I measure it -61. I'm going to amplify it. Yeah, I thought I could hear a little bit of bass there. I'm going to bring up an EQ. This is an EQ, but it allows me to see what frequencies are prominent. Okay. So these bass frequencies down here, I'm hearing some sort of hum, and I'm hearing a little too much of that up here, like the letter F as in Frank. So it's because I think you're in a room. So there's something humming somewhere. I think that's adding more to the noise, but overall, it's not bad. Like I could use this, just like with the acoustics, I could totally use this. So it's solid, but that's the problem when you're in a full blown room. It's so hard to get a good noise floor. So I don't think this is from equipment at all. He's using, by the way, a TLM 103 and an Army Babyface Pro, which are very both top notch, top pro, cream of the crop equipment. So, yeah, your recording levels, I don't need to address any of that. It's all perfect, man. Recording levels, whoop. Mic technique and mic tone. Yeah, I love the tone of it.
With an amazing selection, helpful associates, and Staples.
Yeah, it's all. My only problem is just that light echo I'm hearing. So yeah, let's move on to the processed audio. Close this. Let's take a listen.
You need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. That was easy, right? Let's make it tougher. You need hard-to-find ink in a multi-pack, in stock now, at the lowest price possible.
I'm going to compare a little bit.
You need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. So you need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. That was easy, right? 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 That was easy, right?
Not sure if you're adding any bass. I don't think you are, but if you are, you don't need it. But I do hear you adding some top end frequencies, and it's not bad. Looks like you're doing a little bit of compression. You can see, folks, by how the waveform. Look at how it's a bit more peaks and valleys. That's just a way to visually see if compression's happening too much. So this is a raw audio, and that if you switch to his processed, it's a little bit more even all around, but it doesn't sound over compressed.
In stock now at the lowest price possible. So you go to Staples.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to Staples. Still easy. You go to Staples. You go to Staples. Still easy. With an amazing selection, helpful associates. With an amazing selection, helpful associates.
If you're doing noise removal, which I definitely think you are, I'm just zooming here, or gating, it's a little aggressive, but it's not bad. I'm just hearing like the beginnings and ends of words just barely cut off a little too much. But again, I can use this audio.
Ink guarantee. More people save on ink.
Yeah. So overall, this is good, man. So if you're doing any noise removal or gating, just a little less. And then if you're adding that top end frequency, I don't even know if you need it, but because the TLM is already a really bright mic, but what you're adding isn't too much.
Price possible.
Yeah. I would dial it back, that EQ, if you're using that much, but great job, man. Let's move on. All right. Just checking the chat, make sure. Okay. Sorry, Michael Bybee, about the tech issues. I'm not sure what's going on. On to the next one. We got Alex. We'll see if I can mess up everyone's name. Bonkier?
Alex Bonkier.
God, people, just fire me, okay? I'm sorry, Alex. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I'm surprised Buzz's last name wasn't like Blackburn or some French thing or something. All right, let's take a listen at Alex's audio.
You need ink and toner, so you go to Staples. That was easy, right? Let's make it tougher. You need hard-to-find ink in a multi-pack. In stock now, at the lowest price possible. So, you go to Staples. Still easy. With an amazing selection, helpful associates, and Staples' low-price ink guarantee, more people save on ink and toner at Staples than anywhere else. Staples. That was easy.
Cool. All right, let's pull up his rating. Close this one. All right. So I love your acoustics. And before I go further, I know this is really helpful for people to see other people's studios. So he gave me permission to share his photos. Let me click on. I'm not going to show all of them. He uploaded a lot. Thank you. Super helpful. Trying to get a more bird's eye or zoomed out shot here. All right, so here's the outside of his booth. All right, so he's got acoustic blankets, PVC pipe frames with Leonard bass traps, and just tons of soft, squishy stuff. Awesome. And here we go. So there you go, folks. Right? Who cares, like, if the colors don't, like, if it sounds good, it sounds good. And that's why, sir, you get a 5 on the acoustic scale. It's nice and tight and not echoey, and it's not too muffled. It's not too bright. It sounds really good, man. I love it. Noise floor, really good. Really good. Let's take a listen. Okay, this might be the quietest one so far. Let's compare it to my Studio Bricks noise floor. So we're going to take a listen to this. And now mine. Yeah, I mean, it's quiet. And if we analyze it, it's negative 61, right? But it sounds like it's like negative 70. So boom, nice. Now, I give it a 4.5 because I think I heard just a little bit, a tiny bit of hiss. And it might be because I think the Aventone mic you're using is a tube, or it could be the Focusrite. Again, it's kind of like when you're on that cheaper equipment, like a Focusrite. They're just going to add a little, maybe a few dB of extra noise than a more expensive audio interface. But it sounds really good. So your recording levels, perfect. Taking a look at that, folks. Nice and healthy. We're peaking around -6. Great. Mic technique, I heard no pop Ps, nothing too off axis. All right. Perfect. And the mic tone, I gave it a 4.5 because I like it. Like, I could totally use this in its pro sounding. But let me listen one more time.
You need ink and toner, so you go to Staples.
It's just a little dark and hollow, which is interesting because the Aventone Pro CV12 is the mic he's using, is based on the AKG C12, and that mic is I think it's a tube. I should know this. I'm almost certain it's a tube mic, but it's like what, $10,000 or something, and it's a really bright mic, and I don't hear quite that much brightness in here.
With an amazing selection, helpful associates, and Staples' low-price ink guarantee.
It's just a little too hollow. Like it's just a little too kind of dark and muffled sounding. I want something a little bit more open. I don't know. But again, this is just my preference. But like I said, it's a 4.5. All right. Alex did not submit processed audio, so no rating there. All right. I'm on a roll. If you have a question, if you could type the word question in all caps and then write your question after that, or just keep the question in all caps, and it'll be easier for me to grab. But I'll try to save more of those for the end. I just want to get through as many of these as possible. All right. Is this helpful? Is this educating? If your audio isn't getting heard, is it nice to see other people's studios and stuff? All right. Awesome. Good to know. All right. Boom. Ooh, Who is up next? Catherine Curtin. Let's see. Let me see if I got permission to share her photos. Yes. All right, cool. Let's open up her file.